Hi, Bill Minifie here. What is meant by 6 degrees of separation? This from Wikipedia. 6 degrees of separation is the idea that everyone is 6 or fewer steps away from each other, so that a friend of a friend's statements can be made, connect any two people in a maximum of 6 steps. Therefore, if everyone here knows Bill Arnold, then by 6 degrees, everyone here knows Abraham Lincoln. How, you might ask? The Randolph connection begins with Ellen Swallow Richards. Even though not one of the 6 degrees, she made it all possible. One of the most famous women of the 19th century, she was the first female student at MIT, and with her degree in chemistry in 1873, became America's first professional woman chemist. She should have been MIT's first PhD, Doctor of Science, but MIT wouldn't give it to her because she was a woman. During her 27 years at MIT, she wrote many books on chemistry and nutrition. She began the school lunch program, coined the word ecology, and began the home economics movement. Her accomplishments are unbelievably impressive. There's a plaque dedicated to her both at MIT and at Vassar. In 1888, she came to Randolph by horse and buggy and was shown a lot of 4 acres by Mr. Charles Lowe. She loved the spot and purchased it for $75. Charles Lott was the grandfather of Gordon Lowe and great-grandfather of Allen Lowe. Meantime, in 1875, she married Robert Hallowell Richards, who was no slouch himself. He came from a very distinguished family. 2 towns in Maine, Hallowell and Gardner, were named for his ancestors. In 1865, he was in the first class at MIT and taught metallurgy there his entire career. Ellen and Robert built their house on Randolph Hill in 1904 and called it the Balsams. Ellen died in 1911. Afterwards, Robert met Miss Georgie Madsen, later Kendall, in Boston, Mass. She became his caregiver, and when he died in 1946 at age 99, he bequeathed the house to her. By the early 1990s, she was in a nursing home, and the time had come to sell the Balsams. Bill Arnold, her next-door neighbor and good friend, handled the sale. My brothers, Mary, and I were the lucky purchasers. Now back to the professor. The professor had a younger brother named Henry who married Laura Howe, who was a very well-known author of the 19th century and was the daughter of Julia Ward Howe, who wrote the Battle Hymn of the Republic. In 1861, Julia Ward Howe was in Washington, D.C., and some Civil War troops marched by her carriage singing, "John Brown's body lies a moldering in the grave." This is not the same John Brown of Randolph. That night, she woke from a dream and wrote the words we know so well. "He is trampling out his vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored. He hath loosed his faithful lightning of his terrible swift sword. His truth is marching on." So to sum up, here's how you know by 6 degrees of separation Abraham Lincoln. Bill Arnold is number 1. If someone here does not know Bill Arnold, we'll arrange a meeting for you. Bill Arnold knew Georgie Kendall, number 2, who knew Professor Richards, number 3, who knew his brother Henry's wife, Laura Howe, number 4, who knew her mother, Julia Ward Howe, number 5, who knew Lincoln, number 6. Took all 6 to get there. You could also get to Lincoln through the Lowe family in a slightly different way, but I only have 4 minutes. Julia Ward Howe recalled meeting the president and wrote, "I remember well the sad expression of Mr. Lincoln's deep blue eyes." I end with one of Lincoln's lesser-known quotes. "America will never be destroyed from the outside. If we falter and lose our freedoms, it will be because we destroyed ourselves." Thank you.